But what does it look like when Peter Thiel starts something? You said Peter Thiel started it, but I have the sense that like it was actually mostly like him setting the starting conditions or being the
Yeah,
public face or having the germ
for
of the
sure.
idea. Like, what does
Yeah,
those
yeah.
early formation
Yeah.
stages of the Thiel Fellowship look
Yeah,
like?
it was really exciting because I had worked with homeschoolers before the fellowship, and I also started a charter school in San Diego called Innovations Academy, still running today, 17 years running,
Mm.
and we serve 400 students a year. When you run and operate a charter school and you start a charter school, there's all this operations work you have to do to get it off the ground. And we had to write a 400-page thesis basically and petition the district, and you have to do pilots and like all this stuff. So this is the mindset that I'm in of like how you build something. And I had seen Peter's interview with Sarah Lacey at TechCrunch Disrupt about the fellowship. And every now and again, I go back and watch it actually, because it's just fascinating because he's talking about the fellowship in the present tense. You know, the application is up. We have this, we have mentors. And when I watched that, my assumption was like, oh, well, they must be operators and they must have all the things that they need because that's the way that I would do it. And less than 24 hours later, I got a phone call from this woman, Lindy Fishburne, and her exact words to me were, Danielle, the foundation has lost their minds. We're starting our first in-house program and we have nobody running it. I was like, what? Like, how does that work? That was unbelievable to me that you could just do that as a big public figure. And I loved it. I loved that it was just like, wow, this is like nimble and creative and they're just going for it.
We build the front door of the house and then build the rest of the house as people walk up to the front door.
That's a great description. I interviewed the next week to come on board. And then the week after that, I did come on board. And a lot of it too, we were building with the Thiel Fellows of like, hey, what does a retreat for this type of person look like? What do they want in terms of community building? Almost all of them moved to the Bay Area when they got the fellowship, but we didn't have a requirement about like being in the Bay or doing reviews in person. We would have events that people could fly in for, but there was not a requirement on location. And then all of them came to the area. Some of them were just getting an apartment wherever they could. I remember a couple of them got apartments in the Tenderloin, and I was like, oh my God, like that's a bad neighborhood. Like we got to get you somewhere else. And then in subsequent years, we actually partnered with people to do like co-living houses for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would finance it for the summer. We would typically take a batch like at the beginning of the summer, have them live in this house together for those who wanted to. We're very sort of choice-based in how we do things. And oftentimes they would take over the lease. And actually there's a house called Mission Control that has like gone in and out and through the Thiel Fellowship and Thiel Fellowship friend adjacent communities. And right now it's kind of back to being a maker sort of startup house, which is really cool. And I'm in touch with the person who's leading it now. And it's cool to see that that house has been like in the family for probably like 13 years at this point, which is really, really cool. For me, it was really amazing to come in. And what I didn't want was someone to tell me, well, here's what it's going to be. Here's the dream. Here's everything we want. We just want you to manage it. I was like, I build things. Like I want to embed homeschooling philosophy into this. I want to embed like unconference vibes in the events we do. Like I have a whole thing I want to do. And what was great was there was that pure openness to do that. And what there wasn't that a lot of organizations do, there wasn't a lot of like, hey, we have to prove that this is working within the first year, even within the second year. Like I said, I was like writing up these reports. I wasn't even really being asked to write these reports. I was just like, I just feel like I should be documenting some things. Like this seems like a good thing to do. But that freedom was really, really important on our team to be able to be nimble and choose to do things how and when we would do them and iterate on the program, iterate on the application. Yeah, it was great.